What's up, everyone? It's Gavin or Tweek.
What up, what up? It's Charles or Chuck.
What's going on? You got Matt or Haz coming back to you live. Tweek Talks. Missed an episode last week. We all took a little one off, but hope you guys are feeling well rested. I'm feeling good. No Marcus this week. He's busy being a family man, as he does, but it's good to see you guys and producer Chris, of course. What's going on, Big Gav? How you doing?
Doing well. I think I forgot my name for a split second in the intro. I hesitated. Doing well. I am catching up on things like Riptide. I think I have a lot of interesting things to maybe talk about, kind of ranty, vague topics like usual. But I enjoyed. I recapped a couple sets on stream last night, and yeah, I'm doing pretty well. How about you, Haz?
Ooh, passing it back. I was not ready, I'll be honest with you. You got me with the mix. That's pretty good. I'm good, dude. I had a great weekend, actually. We had bought my mom Yankees tickets for Mother's Day, which was forever ago. We just had to find a day that worked out for all of us. So we went to the city. We had a great time. It was a great game. They're in the playoff hunt, like all this stuff. Like we had a blast. And then I watched a bunch of Riptide, but I also really want to give a shout out to Brooklyn Games and Arcade. They ran a very big, for that scene, Third Strike tournament, all played on one cab. So it might have been like 30 people or something, but I watched some really good Third Strike on Saturday night, flipping between that and Riptide. So I still love that game so much. And it's all like literally like 40-year-old men like playing Third Strike. You know what I mean? Like it's all just grown dudes sitting there and playing. And it's a head-to-head cab, which is my favorite way to play Third Strike. And it's so good, dude. So that was really fun. So shout out to them for putting on a great tournament. Some very high level Third Strike being played still to this day. So great stuff. Chuck, talk to me, baby. What's up?
Well, I moved to Waianae. So back to Waianae we go. And the move took quite a long time, but we're here. We're not completely unpacked yet. I have a bunch of suitcases and stuff in the background. So yeah, I'm excited. Good to be back where I'm from. So that's really fun. And yeah, I mean, the area is really nice too. So my mom seems to be enjoying it a lot more too. So that was like the main reason why we moved. So yeah, the move was really busy, but we got it done. Happy about that. Got to watch some great Smash last weekend. Just like a couple days ago, I had a high school friend from San Diego that lives in San Diego come down, visit Hawaii. So I had a gathering over here and just catching up with a bunch of old high school friends. So that was really fun. So yeah, I had a really fun weekend. Was able to catch most of Riptide Top 8, not all of it, but yeah, I mean, nonetheless, it was still a fun watch. I enjoyed watching Riptide and Fist Bump the weekend before too. That tournament was like really fun to watch just because of the characters, obviously. Asimo making a really deep run, so that was really fun to watch. But yeah, I'm ready to get into it. I think there was a lot of great Smash that happened in the last 2 weeks. What tournament did you guys want to cover first?
Riptide's good. Fist Bump was a little while ago, but obviously, continuing the streak of seeing shotos in top 8, I'll always be a fan of, and I can't give Asimo enough credit, as I like to. And I think he kind of, and maybe Gavin, you can help fill in the gaps here, because I think I even hear people who hate shotos talk about Asimo in a favorable way, just the way he plays the game and the way he looks at it. And I just remember watching him. I think we talk about this quite a bit, but seeing him for the first time really like invitational tech chasing with focus attack and just like really bringing a new flavor to the game was something I loved coming out of the pandemic, and still love to see him like, it's not a gimmick. Like he's still doing really well with this character who is good, but not like, bro, he's not that good. Like the reason we see him in these top 8s is because of players like Asimo. So very happy to see him do well at that tournament 2 weekends ago. Second place, I believe. So good stuff. Always good to see him do well. But we got to talk about Riptide. Asimo and Jazo, bro, they had to play each other. So I was like, damn, there goes my odds of getting a show to top 8. Team kill right there. That sucks, dude. That sucks. Fun set though. Asimo won 3-0, but it was a good set, and I know that Jaws has played a lot, and he'll get better as we've seen him do so many times. But no Shoto in top 8. The top 8 was, I think, like, dude, it was almost an exact, I don't want to say exact repeat, but very close to, or very, very similar to what we saw at Supernova. And I think like what we're getting into, and I think what we'll spend a portion of today talking about probably is where we're at in the meta and how things look, and people on Twitter being doomer, and we're at this point. I need to make actually one of those things where it's like here's where we are in the cycle. You know what I mean? I saw one of those for the token, Marvel Token what's it called, beta, where they said, here's where you are. It's like it's supposed to be 2 out of 3 discussion. Like that's the next thing that they're going into. I got to make one of those actually coming up for Smash Ultimate where we're at, because the way I see it, like with Riptide and where it was it the best tournament I've ever watched in my life? No, but I had a good time watching it for sure. I know the viewership wasn't as high as we probably would like to see, but I've always viewed like Riptide and those other water park tournaments as like an in-person experience. Like I know obviously everyone cares about viewership, and I think it does say something about our game and where we're at, but we're coming out of like this big stretch of a ton of back-to-back-to-back tournaments. And again, like a repeat top 8, and we're just kind of in the spot with Ultimate where this is how things are going to be. Like we're going to see this mix of characters and players. It's going to get, whether you call it fresh, where we see a couple people jump in to mix in the top 8, but it's the same people. More likely you call it stale because you see the same characters and players in the top 8 over and over and over again. It's like a repeat from Supernova. That's a hard thing to say. Like if you're putting your tournament in right next to Supernova right after it already happened, it's like, I don't know if I'm going to watch this one or not, but I watched most of it, so I had a good time. I don't know about you guys.
Also, if you're a player, like, you should definitely not be complaining about any of this, because Japan's actually coming out to US and competing. So, I mean, honestly, the community should just be thankful that Japan can stay in their fortress in Japan and just not go out to any tournaments, and they can just farm each other, and no American player will ever get a shot at like getting ranked, because the system is very abusable. And we've talked about this. I mean, Lights Out has talked about this in terms of just the ranking system in general. And in the past, like the US abused it, obviously. So it's kind of weird to get super into it. And I don't want to get into rankings now, but just be grateful that Japan's coming out and competing in these tournaments. Now, they're really strong. Are they going to get into top 8 consistently? Yes. Are you going to see the same players / characters if all these Japanese players are coming out? Probably. So just be thankful that Japan's coming out, and the US players are just, I mean, all the other players that aren't Japanese get to get their shot versus Japan. So I just wanted to say that, like, shout outs to Japan for actually coming out to these tournaments. They don't have to. It costs a lot of resources to do so. So, I mean, shout outs to them. I'm very grateful that Japan's even coming out to these tournaments. So
Yeah.
that's the first thing I want to just shout out for sure, because they definitely don't have to. And I mean, the meta is what it is. I think we're getting to a point in the game where, I don't know, for me, it's very expected. And I love how you're talking about the cycle has. In the comments, what would you put? Like, let me know in the comments, what would you put in your cycle? Because one of the things I would put is commentary dispute, or like commentary drama too. People talking about commentators. That's definitely one of the things you put in the cycle.
That's like a side quest. That's like a side quest though. Like it branches out. Like we always have to be talking about that. Like it always comes back to there. Honestly is even
rule
a small
sets
thing.
Right, rule sets another one, right? Like,
dude.
just please in the comments put every main topic for the cycle, because there's so many of them that happen on Twitter. But yeah, I mean, we're at the end of the cycle, man. And I think one thing I really hope, if Nintendo does watch, if they're concerned or if they care about the balancing of the game, I would love for them to see which characters or what kind of strategies are strong at the end of a cycle when there's no patches. So there's no like band-aids to put over characters and fix up the characters, right? So essentially, what type of characters, what type of gameplay is strong in Smash Brothers? Because I think that's what we're seeing, right? I mean, obviously, defense is always king. I can't really think of another Smash game where offense is better than defense, and I think that's in most fighting games. But it's very clear what's strong in the game. Like we're seeing Sonic, we're seeing Game & Watch, like Game & Watch being strong because of the best character out of Shield. Sonic being very mobile, setting up like proactive gameplay, right? Like going to the corner, charging up a spin move, and it's very safe. Or Steve, another proactive strategy. Snake, another proactive strategy. So to me, I just think we're seeing what's usually strong in Smash, and I don't even understand why people are complaining. Like, yeah, it's boring, but man, yo, go look up a Brawl video of Meta Knight timing out any other character. It's the same. It's worse when you look back in time. So it's just the same thing. And even, the next young generation of players picking up DLC and shitting on everyone, that literally happened in Smash 4. It's happening again. To me, it's just history is repeating itself. And I think the time periods between games is the part where people might be more concerned about. I think the gap between Ultimate and the next game, now we've overcome Smash 4, right? Like Smash 4's timeline, Ultimate would have already came out. So yeah, we're having to wait longer, but to me, it's just the same thing, different characters. But what was really strong in Smash 4? It's the same thing: proactive gameplay, charging limit. I think Bayo was probably the only case of you could add in a bit more offense, but it was more so Bayo was so mobile and you camped until you got your opening with like you camped with bullet arts and stuff like that, and then you got the big damage. And Steve is somewhat the same. I mean, you get your big opening, but except Steve's able to like create walls and mine resources, right? So they both have like Steve also has crazy offensive power too. But yeah, to me, it just feels like the same old when it comes to the cycle repeating in terms of Smash and what's strong, you know, what group of players are strong. It's like the younger generation that it's like Smash changed so much, so the older generation has to change their out or their view on Smash, where the younger generation is just like, oh, this is a blank slate, this is strong, I play what's strong, and yada yada. I don't know how you guys feel about this cycle repeating itself over and over again, but I'm personally not too doomer about it. It's just what Smash is to me, at least.
I think too, there's more context to it. Like, yeah, the top 8 going into it is again like a repeat or all the same characters that we see: Sonic, Steve, Game and Watch, Snake, Doramiki, Min, right? Obviously, same players as well. But on the way there, like, I think we see this more and more. We talked about it from a commentary angle where it's like, dude, there were so many good upsets that happened as well. You know what I mean? Like Wrath 3-0ing Aquila, insane. You know what I mean? Is it a set that I want to watch the whole way through? Maybe not 100%, but I'm excited about that. That's a huge upset. Like Wrath was pretty underrated last season, or under valued as a player in the rankings, in my opinion. I think a lot of people would say that. And I'm really happy you got a chance to prove that. 3-0ing Aquila is ridiculous. How often does that happen? Can't be very often, right? Doramiki being able to beat Wrath as well, I think is a huge storyline. I think there are a lot of good storylines and a lot of good like nuggets in there. But when you look at the top 8 and the way it rolled up, I think that's where people are having a hard time and get doomer about it. And I also think it's part of like one person says one negative thing and another, it's easy to dogpile and get it that way. And like, I'm not sitting here saying like I'm super stoked to see the same characters, especially the characters that we are seeing. But what I'm saying is it's like it's easy to be negative, whereas there are some positives in here and there are some really cool things, even in the top 8 that happened. Shout out to Syrup, man. Syrup beating players like Spargo and beating players like Aquila. Damn, like that's ridiculous. I don't care that it was a Steve Ditto. I do a little bit, but not actually really. You know what I mean? Even that might be, I don't want to say more impressive, but it's very impressive in a very specific way. And, you know, Gav, we've been casters and high level casters, and we've been players for a long time. What's your take on all this stuff as a top player?
I guess first off, like I looked at specific stuff from the event, and was just analyzing some of the matches that I could. I haven't gotten through every match. I would like to eventually, but I watched Wrath versus Light. I watched Syrup versus Aquila, and I did watch a little bit of stuff live. I was very interested in Loaf's run, and I do want to talk about Syrup versus Aquila specifically. Something that was interesting is for the first off, it was a reverse 3-0 from Syrup. Aquila won the first 2 games on small battlefield. And then as soon as Syrup took the 3rd game on small battlefield, Aquila went right to FD. And then lost on FD, ran it back to FD for the 5th game and lost. So I think it's pretty clear that FD was the backup plan regardless of the results of the individual games. And I think it benefited Syrup's gameplay a lot more than Aquila's. I talked about this a lot on stream, and the chat seemed interested in this. Kind of deep diving more into why Aquila is so successful. We talked about this a little bit in maybe the most recent podcast or the one before it. About Aquila's like sense of urgency, and like he weaves in like the perfect amount of panic into his gameplay when things are going poorly, and he makes so many comebacks. And you could see that. You could see clear differences between Syrup and Aquila. And on small battlefield, I think Aquila was able to achieve this a bit more. Take things into his own hands, be a bit more dynamic. He got 2 like offstage kills. When he was losing, he was a bit more like, like I said, like taking things into his own hands and forcing things, but like just the right amount, you know what I mean? Like weaving in the risk depending on like what the situation is. And on FD, Syrup's way of winning was more so like getting a lead to the point where there's no choice but for you to lose, like choking you out kind of thing, which is, something we kind of expect from the more defensive characters. And I think FD really helped that for Syrup more so than Aquila. Aquila didn't really have many avenues to like take things into his own hands once things started going poorly on FD. Something that was interesting about the ledge trapping and corner pressure was Aquila, or like they would create the three walls, and in the Steve Ditto specifically, they're not forced to go around the wall or like stay right in front of it. You just build your own wall and just like you keep going up, and it creates this dynamic where they're just going around each other constantly. And I just think that complemented Syrup so much more with how he was winning his games. Whereas if there was more pressure put on Syrup in these spots, I think Aquila would have created more dynamic situations and got something done, like on small battlefield. So I think FD really benefited Syrup, where it became like more of a suffocating victory rather than, maybe that's not the best wording because you could say that for both, but yeah, that's what I thought was interesting. Like in the mirror match specifically, the blocks would just help create elevation to get over the other blocks, and it just became this situation of you're going higher and higher until you literally can't. And I just think that benefited Syrup's style more. Um, and then for we talked a lot about interesting things between Wrath and Light, but not as ambiguous and vague and like generally applicable as what we were talking about here. Um, but yeah, it is interesting. This, I don't want to be like an asshole, but Light used to perform so much more consistently against Sonic, and the Sonic players have been doing a lot better collectively against Light. And this was one of the first times I really intently watched a Sonic versus Light set, and it was close, man. 3-2. And I don't know. I think Sonic players collectively just improve all the time. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, I've been playing a lot of Wario myself, so I did really want to see Loaf's matches, and um, it's a shame because he beat Ouch, I think 3-0, 3-2, one of those two. And I wish I got to see that, but it wasn't recorded. So
That
That's
sucks.
that's the other thing I want to say about this tournament is there were so many good and fun matches that just weren't necessarily streamed. You know what I mean? Like so many results I saw, like Peanut was at this, like people who didn't get top 8, right? Shiny Mark Shuton, Luis, who had a great win over Asimo, by the way. Great, fantastic set. I had a blast watching that. I'm not gonna
Luis
say
was
whether
playing very confident,
I
and
loved it.
not that he doesn't usually play that way. I think that's a great quality of his, but from what I saw, he was just
Mhm.
not afraid to go out there, like, and like just go for stuff.
Totally. Ashimo, Peepnut, Karama, Toon, Death Spade, Loaf, like all these are all players who didn't make this top 8. You know, Cola, Mudace, Apollo Kage. Like this tournament was stacked.
He's here for a
It was
reason.
a P tier. Yeah,
Top
that's what I'm
24 is
saying.
definitely like,
Yeah. I That would be my suggestion to Riptide next year. I know they run Melee and Rivals as well, which is great, and you get a championship Sunday, which is awesome. But let's be real, for Ultimate right now, the best viewer experience is that top 96 sweet spot, man. Like that is where you
Yes.
want, that is where
absolutely.
you
We
get your
talked about it a lot.
viewership, man. So you want to talk about, ooh, Ultimate is suffering and the viewership's down because it was just the top 8. Y'all, would you not want to watch all these matches? I did. I love these matches. Cola Mudace, are you kidding me? Ouch. It's not their fault that they didn't make top 8. You know what I'm saying? They just you need to plan for that better. There were even some great sets going into top 8. Doorstop Miya was a great set. There are all these, I think, like the idea that these players from Japan are such juggernauts that they're overcoming those bad matchups that like Miya is so afraid to play Mars. You know, obviously Mars is one player, Doorstop's another player, but Doorstop brought it to game 5, which is so impressive and for so many reasons. But to see Miya overcome that matchup is one thing. To see Hurt stick with Snake, not go to Sonic anymore against Doramigi, and then seeing Doramigi, maybe why, because he beat Wrath actually in losers too. So it's like just seeing these players evolve and their little counter pick meta and like how they play against each other. Like to me, that's where a lot of that entertainment value is. Like I like watching Doramigi play. Min makes matchups very, very fast. If you're watching one of your favorite players play against Min though, man, forget about it. That shit is tough to watch because she just kills people. She just kills them. And Doramigi's so good. But what I'm saying is like, I think that top 8 having a low viewership to me is not necessarily directly because Ultimate's dead, Ultimate's dying. Because if we have a banger top 8 next weekend, y'all are gonna be like, wow, Ultimate's so back. Like, we got Cola Light, Winners Finals. Oh shit, Ultimate has never been better, right? Which would be true. That would be great. Obviously, we'd all love to see that. What I'm saying is there's a lot of good and entertaining sets. It just needs to be spread out a little bit more. And I know if you're a tournament trying to, accommodate many different games, then that's tough. And that just is what it is. And like you said, Gav, some of these big sets, they weren't streamed, they weren't captured, so you can't go back and watch them and talk about them, which sucks. You can't capture every tournament set, but that's where, like, to me, some of the real, like, organic hype shit comes from, because then you get people like live streaming on their phone to like an audience of like 200 people. Oh shit, I want to watch this set. That stuff is the best. You know what I mean? I love obviously big sets anywhere, but having it like hand cam, there's something special about that. But either way, man, I think there's so much to talk about with this tournament, and I think some of the sets we didn't watch or couldn't watch is unfortunately some of it. But Paris getting top 8 again, very happy to see that. Of course, we talk a lot about Paris and his results and what is he doing with the solo Fox life and how is that going to work out long term. And then he gets a good bracket, you know what I mean? Then he beat Beastwood Paul, which is great. But then he lost to Wrath, which is someone he's never lost to before. And I think Wrath is such a great story from this tournament too, beating Akola and then beating Light, who was 7-0 against him, 8-0 against him lifetime, getting his first win against him. And I think, Gav, it's more of that, what we talked about. Like you said, Sonic players are getting better, period. They got a great community. We talk about this all the time. Your character's community and the leaders that they have, and you have great players and great minds like Sonic's helping you out. I don't even know if they talked or anything, but Wrath himself is a great coach and knows a lot about the game. But you have a night to sleep and think about it, you can overcome those big matchups. You really can, because I guarantee you Wrath prepared more than Light did. Light, for sure, was like, I'm going to go in there and do my thing. I need to start prepping for other things later in the bracket, right? Like 100%. And I'm not saying that's a mistake. I'm saying that's a factor, right? Maybe it was a mistake in hindsight, but not up front. You're coaching Light and you tell him, oh, you got to prepare for this top 8. He's not going to prepare for the guy he's 8-0 against the matchup that he plays very well in.
Yeah.
That's the point. You don't really so much time, right?
I personally think it shouldn't be a surprise that Wrath beat Akola. Even 3-0, I don't think should be a surprise. There's a lot of reason to believe that Wrath is very comfortable versus Japan, and not only just Japan, but the best players in the world right now. His performance in Japan a few months back was great, and when he gets the opportunity, he delivers versus Japan. He's beaten Miya before, and whether you want to believe me or not, I predicted that Wrath would win that set. And I just not surprised. I was not streaming Riptide, or I was not streaming on Sunday. But I was pretty confident that Wrath would win against Akola, just based on real information that's directly in front of us, and just personally how I felt about it as well. We see Sonic's level of comfortability versus some of the big names like Miya and Akola and Hurt. And why can't Wrath is perfectly capable of delivering the same results, and he does. He just it hasn't been in front of our faces as frequently as Sonic's opportunities to do the same are. But yeah, I mean, he's clearly one of our North America's best candidates to deliver in like these P tier type events when you're up against players like this and characters like this. And yeah, I just personally wasn't surprised. Good job to him, of course.
God damn.
Ooh, he's hard to bet against, for sure at this point. Especially, like, I would say aside from against Light, but even now at this point, I'm like, he can definitely do it, man. And he's been close before too. And that too, I think, is why when the rankings came out, a lot of people were like, there's no way, like eye test wise and skill wise and watching him play, there's no way this dude's only top 40-ish. Like, there's just no way. Like, it just can't be possible. He's just that good. And again, I'll shout out every week. It feels like at this point I'm shouting out Georgia, man. I love that region so much. They're so competitive. They're so good at, training with each other, teaching each other and all that shit. And if it's not one of them or two of them or three of them in a top 8 of a big tournament, it's damn near close to every tournament at this point that one of them makes it in. So it's pretty cool.
I'm proud of like US or NA in general this tournament. I know Japan ended up taking it home and it was Japan Grand Finals, but Akola getting 7th, like that's a big one to crank down the placing that low. So shout outs to NA.
Double NA eliminated too.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, I'm a longtime Smash fan, and I think Japan doing well is cool, but it's been a while. been a while. I think they've been on top for long enough. I think I would like to start seeing NA slash particularly US players. I have a lot of faith in US Smash players. I think I mean, again, shout outs to Wrath. I think Wrath is one of the most interesting top players that we have right now, because most top players, especially in the US, the way they learn the game is opposite. Like Wrath started when Wrath was coming up, he was known as a defensive player, and Wrath had to learn how to increase his offense. But usually it's the other way around, where most, or at least like the players that I was around during, Brawl and Smash 4, it was more about offense. And it's like, oh, you need to get hurt. Like you need to get shown what the real world is. And then you start fighting up against like tri-state players and stuff like that. And they show you what Smash is really like. And it's more about defense and stuff like that. Right. So you kind of get the defense beaten into you, because it's like, oh, okay, well, if I'm not going to play defense, and if I'm just going to like spam dash attack in these key moments or what have you, and pick more of these offensive options, then you get punished, you reach, I teach, etc., right? But Wrath is interesting because he kind of is a flip in that sense. So it's been really cool to see Wrath do extremely well versus Japan, getting all these crazy wins, and the offense definitely coming to fruition here. And I mean, obviously that's a help from Sonic. Sonics is the one who pioneered this character's offense to the point where it's like a science now, right? So I think it's interesting seeing more and more Sonic players come up, and we can't just be like, oh, Sonic's not that crazy, it's just Sonics, right? No, this character is really strong. And I think Sonic is one of the OG characters, base game characters, that can compete with the DLC characters, and has a bunch of different strategies because of the speed, because of the spin moves, right? I mean, even watching Wrath destroy Minecart when Steve Minecarts jumps out of it, that's such a awkward scenario for a lot of characters, because it forces spot dodge, it forces roll in, it forces jump, right? But if you have spin dash, you can spin dash through it and then either swing or just jump and continue onward. So that's been a classic Sonic thing for a long time, just spin dash beating projectiles. But yeah, I think, and then Syrup doing well versus Akola as well. I think Syrup, like I know Gavin did a deep dive, but it was really sick to see Syrup, just especially towards the end of the set, classic tri-state. Get the lead, hold the lead, and just watch your opponent try all of these different offensive ways to get in. And it's like, nope. Oh, minecart in, diamond back air, hits the minecart, then hits you. Like Syrup did that. And I mean, to me, when that moment happened, that was when the set was over, because I think that's when Syrup went like 3-1, or it was a pivotal part of game 5. But I mean, again, and I think the stage choices, like Gavin pointed out, helped Syrup a lot. I mean, you just don't on FD, the game gets simplified to the point where it's like, when someone has a lead on FD, it's tough. It is really tough, depending on the matchup, depending on the character. And another thing that was really interesting to see about Steve mirrors, I haven't watched too many Steve mirrors. I'm always trying to watch Steve versus other characters and be like, how does Steve lose? Like, how to figure it out. But Steve actually is so good at getting rid of Steve walls, because you can mine Steve walls. So it's interesting that
if you're trying to see how Steve loses, you should have watched more Steve Does, because you're guaranteed to see a Steve lose.
Right.
It happens every time.
Mine Steve blocks.
Think about it. Think about it.
As an exclusive option to get rid of Steve blocks. So it also makes the offense of that matchup very interesting, because both Akola and Syrup would run up to the other Steve's block formation and just mine it, and then like buffer dash tag or something like that, or just mine a little bit, maybe go into shield. You still are putting yourself in a not the greatest position, because as you're mining the wall, you can get hit with forward smash or dash attack. But it was just interesting to see the different dynamics. Also, just like both Steves clanking their mine carts into blocks to slow it down, so you get that slow moving, grabbing projectile, right, instead of the fast moving one. There's obviously going to still be a lot of interesting dynamics between the two characters. So, and also Steve hits like a truck. So it felt like the weight that Steve has that other characters kind of struggle with to close out the stocks, Steve up smash was killing at 120, 130 after the hit. You got diamond moves, obviously, like line them up, back air, forward smash, what have you. So it was cool to see NA come out, and especially America do well. So yeah, I mean, I thought Riptide was a great tournament. I think, like Has said, a lot of the interesting characters, or the more fun offensive characters, you're going to see before top 8. It is what it is. The game is, we don't have patches. The game is getting to the point where we're seeing which characters are really strong, and the players on top are being very consistent. So, and you can't really knock on the players for being consistent, right? At the end of the day, we're just trying to see those players get upset before they get in the top 8. And this tournament didn't really happen. Not too many upsets going in the top 8.
We even say that, but like Raru didn't make top 8. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
Aurora not getting top 8 is big. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that there was no upsets.
No,
but like,
yeah.
I mean, essentially, a lot of the top 8 seeds, at least over half of the top 8 seeds got in the top 8.
Right. Yeah. And
I think. I'm not, don't quote me on that, but yeah, it felt like it.
Yeah. I don't even know. And it's kind of crazy because Syrup was the highest placing NA player. And then Zomba, obviously, in 5th. Shouts to Zomba, by the way. Good tournament again.
Yep. Zomba.
And just Miya. I mean, we haven't even talked about who won the tournament. Miya is just so damn consistent.
No Akola? Time
ready
for
to go.
Miya to roll
ready to
up.
go.
It's like, because when you think about it, it's like if Miya doesn't have to deal with Akola or just beats Akola in the tournament, it's like, okay, set count versus Doramigi, set count versus Hurt. Like, man, Miya is eating good on these matchups.
For sure.
Game & Watch, baby. I mean, the character doesn't have a lot of weaknesses, man. I've been preaching Game & Watch, pocket Game & Watch for years, or just Game & Watch in general. Just a very, very good character. A very good character. And I mean, when you can just run, when your run-up shield is that good, man, in Ultimate, like, God. And then on top of that, you can just parry everything too. Like, probably one of the best characters out of parry as well. So
yeah,
insane. And Miya just keeps perfecting the flow chart and just does so well. It's feels like becoming a bit more consistent. I know Miya would kind of struggle, especially when traveling abroad for a lot of these tournaments, right? We would see Miya get these, not get in the top 8 at a lot of these tournaments traveling to North America. But I think Miya might be getting a little bit more experience when it comes to traveling and going to these tournaments. I mean, traveling from Japan to, the Midwest, that's a far trip, right? So I think Miya is just going through the motions more and more, just getting more experienced and still doing well here.
Plus, you got that damn hour plus long ride from the airport to the venue.
True. That
I hate that.
Smash and Splash, Riptide, like it ain't just call up. It ain't as simple as land and call up the Uber. It's usually you got to get like a taxi and try to coordinate with other people because the taxi's so expensive. So you're trying to split the taxi and all that jazz.
Yeah.
But I mean, the water park thing.
Yeah.
If you like water parks and Smash Bros, bada bing.
To that, I'd say people who went seem to have a blast. You know what I mean? Like, it's always good vibes at those tournaments and all that stuff. So it is what it is. But yeah. Big Gav.
The gorilla statue, a classic.
Every time. Every classic. Time. Talk to us. I feel like me and Chuck have been yapping this whole. I mean, we do that from time to time, but
yeah, I think the topics I've been thinking about, especially post Riptide from watching, is describing to my viewers like what it means to panic in Smash and like why it's important to have like a sense of urgency and like panic in your gameplay, and like really breaking that down has been an interesting topic.
Most people would think panic is bad though, right? That's
exactly like just similar to how people think autopilot is bad. It just has like a negative connotation to it, but they're so important to the point where like not only are they not bad, they're like the best. And like talking about like how you weave in like sense of urgency and panic into your gameplay depending on like the deficit or the lead or the amount of time on the clock, and where you can take trades and where you can't. And I've been talking about that stuff a lot, and I've also been playing the game a lot. I've been playing a lot of Wario, and it's like, bouncing between Wario, Diddy Kong, and it's just been very difficult despite all of this. Like, playing Wario has been really difficult. Like, Diddy Kong is really comfortable. Things usually go well, but playing Wario is like, it's kind of cool. It feels like if I want to play well against good players, I have a lot of catching up to do, which is always like fun. But geez, like, I don't know how people do it. Like, that's why something we talked about before we went live with the recording was we just want Gluto to play Wario.
Say that's not true. I love his Link.
Yeah,
hell,
I want
more
Gluto
Link,
to play
bro.
Wario. The Link is cool, but All right, it was a funny joke. It was a funny joke, Gluto. Like, can we stop with this?
No.
So
Keep it going,
seeing
Gluto.
like my chat was like borderline making fun of me when I was watching Loaf play because like I'm just like appreciating every little thing and like just gushing over everything, and my chat's just like, "What are you talking about?" But like, bro,
They're not
Yeah.
seeing what you're seeing,
It,
man.
Loaf
well,
was playing well, and
it's
I wish I
combo
got to see
like
more of it. But
you're a top level player. You know, you're a top player. Well, it also hilarious that you still have character crisis after you retire. I think that's very
Yeah, this
funny.
guy's
Yeah.
retired talking about
You're
practicing
not even
character
playing, and
crises.
you're like,
What the?
damn, should I go Wario? I'm like, for what? For Wario? What the hell?
You're in
Still
the
having a character
retirement home,
crisis.
man.
Yeah.
Even in the retirement home, just don't touch the Sephiroth, man. That's all I gotta say.
Not even in the retirement
No,
home?
put him down. Yeah, items on.
I
Nothing,
feel
man.
the same way.
Not unless you no, whatever. Anyway, we're not going down a Gavin character crisis anymore. It's not happening right now.
The retired character crisis
But yeah,
arc.
it is so different too. Like obviously a big part of why you see things that Loaf is doing that others don't is just you as a top player, you know, top level player, just seeing things that people don't anyway. But then when you play a character, bro, and this is always what I say to casters is like if you need to learn how to get naturally excited about a character. Like right now, what a great opportunity for people to really learn the fuck out of Steve and cast the shit out of him and have a lot of fun. Like that is so possible. Those are things I had to do with characters like Sonic and Olimar. Olimar was really hard for me for a while because I thought he was boring as shit, and we saw more of him in early Ultimate. He was an up smash bot, more so, still is, but more so then.
Yeah.
But he was really hard for me to cast because I just found him boring. And it's like, what a great way to figure out how to. There is, regardless of whatever character it is, I don't care who it is. There's not a one button win condition. If there was, this would be boring as shit. And there's nothing to talk about. But with Steve, man, there's so many. I need to study Steve more, truthfully. Like, I'll own that right away. I'm pretty good at it, but am I fantastic at it? No. Do I play the character? Gavin one time asked me to play Steve against him and to build a 3-block wall. And I was like, this is not as
I don't know how
easy
to
as
do it either.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so I'm so glad you. I wasn't sure. I was gonna throw you under the bus, but you also can't do it, so that made me feel better. But I was like, damn, there is a lot to this character, and I think that's part of the reason why people are falling off an ult because, in terms of viewership, or you want to say it's boring or whatever, is that's a big part of it too. Is you got to bring the heat when it comes to casting these
Decide if
characters.
you want to keep up with it or not.
Totally, 100%, yes. And what is that? And that's like that's the other thing about a water park tournament. I'm like, I was talking to my little brother about it actually. He's like, what do you think about these water park tournaments? Like, they're really cool, but I would never take advantage of it because when I'm there, I'm working. I truly am. And Gavin will tell you, Charles will tell you, I sit in my fucking room and I study. I study for these matchups because as Unk in the scene, I don't have as much time to sit there and just watch VODs all day. So what I do is I let the bracket unfold, then I watch the VODs. You all know this. If you've watched the show at all, you know this. So I wouldn't even go to the water park. I wouldn't even be able to do that shit, you know, because I need to sit there and I need to deliver. And some of that time, you know, should be dedicated to if you play Steve, bro, if you play Steve and you're a caster, you should be popping off every fucking tournament. You should be saying shit ahead of time. You should be getting hyped about everything. Like that's a cool part of really know about knowing a character really, really well is you naturally know what's going to happen and you can get excited about it. And it's similar to what you're saying, Gav, with like little Wario things that you just geek out about. Y'all heard me cast, you know, Jaso or Asimo or whatever, or, you know, any Belmont ever. That shit gets me geeking because it's so cool because I've played it before and I've seen it and I know how difficult some of those things can be or how hard matches can be and all that stuff. What a great opportunity right now this time is for up and coming casters and people who want to make good content or contribute positively to the scene instead of being like, damn, Game and Watch and Steve are ruining everything. True? Next tournament? Okay. Well, let's pray that people that play other characters save us this time. No, people can do things. You can make things interesting yourself. Do some good stuff. Stream, do something like make character guides, how to beat Steve, how to do this. But most people, it's just easier to be like, this sucks because everyone's like, yeah, this does suck. You know, hey, this does suck. True. But yeah, there's ways again there's always opportunities to make things more interesting and more fun. And I think really studying a character, even if you hate him at first, bro, it gets fun. Like I love casting Olimar now. I love it. And I think it's so fun. And I think there's not that it happens as much anymore, but it's cool. It's fun. And I always think there's just opportunities to make things more interesting and better in the scene. So it's my mini rant there. But sorry, you said you've been pointing out you've been playing Wario more, so you noticed things that Loaf was doing.
Yeah.
I really wish we could have seen more of Loaf's around. I'm a fan of Loaf. couple good wins, and then he had to play against Shuton. Was that one stream, Gav? Do you know?
Probably because it was top
I
24,
think
but
so
I
too.
actually haven't seen that one yet.
Me
I
neither.
talked about it with him a little bit. He was nervous about not playing as well on Sunday, and you know how that goes. It's a difficult uh it's just competing is rough. But I like the way you positively framed everything has. Um, taking things into your own hands instead of like hoping next time goes differently. If
Yeah.
you care enough to hope for something to go differently, maybe taking things into your own hands and trying to do what you can be helpful.
Mhm.
Um, I don't want to be mean or anything, but I think the level of effort does show throughout the community, and there's a big lack of effort in a lot of categories. So I really like what you're getting at, basically.
And as someone, and I'm sure you've all been there. Thank you, by the way, I appreciate that. As someone, I'm sure you've all been there, where you join a new community and you're so excited about this game, you start playing. You're like a noob. You have no idea what's going on, and you're just having a blast hitting your buttons. And you start reading the online discourse, like, damn, here's why everyone. Rivals is like that. Marvel Rivals is like that for me now. Did not hit goal, by the way. Didn't have enough time to play. I apologize. Chat, I couldn't do it. I failed. I didn't even try though, to be fair, which might be worse. But I just didn't really have time to commit to it.
That means it doesn't count.
It does, unfortunately. That's a huge L. Like arguably worse. Like I didn't even really try because it was just I don't have the time. But anyway, but joining them and I'm like, wow, this is a fun time. And then I'm reading online like here are all these articles about why people are quitting the game and oh this DLC sucks. Oh this skin. I'm like damn, like everybody is so negative. Like I didn't feel any of that when I'm actually playing it. I think a lot of people say that stuff too about Smash in general. Like, yeah, the online discourse, like X, Y, and Z, like all of it's so negative. But like, actually, like I said, I bet you everybody on Riptide had a blast. I bet you everybody there had a really good time, or like most of the people who went there probably had a really good time. I can't speak for everyone, obviously, but that's just because there's more to it than just the results of the bracket or that one match on stream or whatever. You know what I mean? We, it's no mistake that we're still hanging around here. It's because we have a good time with our friends at tournaments, and that there are so many important things that we've all learned from Smash, and it's more important than damn we got to watch what game of watching Steve and Min Min again or Snake or whatever. Like
You don't
to me,
have to though. That's the weird thing. I feel like people like
yeah.
convince themselves that they have to do certain things. Bro, if you look at the character lineup on top 8, you don't gotta watch. Because I just feel like so much people force themselves to do
Apparently, people
certain
did it.
things.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they definitely know that.
They definitely
Well,
didn't
right,
watch.
but I just feel like it is so easy to just like complain about something and not do anything or like try to solve the problem. I don't like this. Okay, cool. There's a lot of things a lot of people don't like, and you can just scream it out into the void. But if you care, then you can try to make things more interesting if you want. Or there, and it's such a weird problem, right? Because what is the problem? Oh, it's just a Smash character that camps. It's proactive gameplay, and there's not a real way to solve it. So, I mean, you can take a break from Smash. There's no problem with that. Like, I mean, right now, me and Haz don't really play the game. We're playing other games, and that's completely fine. It's the downtime, everyone. Like your life doesn't have to be 100% Smash all the time, every time. There's peaks and there's valleys. If you're not enjoying the game, you don't have to force yourself to watch and play it and then bitch about it. Like, I don't know, it's stupid.
Yeah, I think people care is where it comes from. And it's not as often with most things. It's not like what you're feeling, like you're feeling some negative way towards Smash or feeling bad about what you're watching or what's going on. It's like what you do with it that really matters is what I'm getting at. Like, you can feel bad about something, but what are you going to do about it? Right. What's the thing you're going to do, which really matters to me. And then the other part is like, I don't know. I lost my train of thought actually. So there's no other part. That's it. Go Gav, go. Save me.
Yeah, I think complaining is perfectly reasonable. In fact, I expect it and personally do it a lot myself. And if anything, I get more upset if someone's like, you shouldn't complain, like everything is perfect. Like, I really hate that type of person that's like low key just lying. And like, I think there's a balance, like taking things into your own hands, working hard, enjoying things, but also being a human being that complains and hates things. And like, it's a balance. And it's like you said, people care, and just because
Yeah.
you don't like something specific in Smash or you're not enjoying Smash at this specific time doesn't mean you don't love it, and it also doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. But, there's a lot of nuance to everything. But yeah, I do really hate the type of person that's like, "Everything is perfect."
Yeah, no, no.
Like,
Keep it
you're not
real.
both sides of the coin here, whether it's overly positive or overly negative, are very shallow, and I think
Mhm.
that's what I don't like. And this
Yeah.
reminds me a lot of something I was talking about a lot on stream because 'cause I'll be playing Smash or watching Smash, and I'll get a lot of questions that are very shallow, and I do wanna say I appreciate someone that's more casual and they have that level of, like, whimsy to their question where you can tell they're, like, you know,
Oh, you're
like
new
an
here.
ignorance is bliss type of thing. It's like, "Oh, how
Yeah.
adorable." It's like, "Oh, you're adorable, you don't even know Smash," like, but I always try to steer the conversation in different ways because I get a lot of questions I find shallow, like, "Whose recovery is better, Cloud or Aegis?" Like, which character is higher on the tier list? Which character's thing is better in this spot? And it's like, "Okay, we where I'm just trying to push the chat in a different direction without, like I don't wanna say anyone's question is stupid because it's not stupid, but they are shallow questions that don't really go anywhere. And, it feels like a lot of these Smash conversations, like, that's my problem with it. Like, what's the end goal? Where do we go? If I tell you Cloud's recovery is better than Age's or vice versa, like, okay.
And
But
then
what if
what?
we talk about specifics and, like, we're not just putting numbers on a tier list or whatever, like, can we just talk about things and, like, can I ask you questions about how you feel in this situation, or what if this character was put in this situation, like, and when I do VOD review or live tournaments, like, I try to create a more interesting conversation because, like, I think when you're streaming, you think you have to answer every question or you have to just, like, indulge everyone, but you really don't. Like, you can push it in a different direction instead, and, yeah, I'm kinda rambling too, but I
It's
just
great.
I just think having nuance and please, like, let's have, an in-depth conversation about things. Let's not just say something overly positive or negative or ask a question that goes nowhere,
I just want direction or depth.
let's just go
I
somewhere with something,
I bitch and complain about Kazuya, Steve, Game One. I complain about a lot of characters in Smash, but when I'm doing it, it's like, what's strong about them? What are they doing to break the game? Like,
yeah.
I don't.
People love your rants, by the way. Like, you don't need to sit here and be positive. You
Yeah,
just gotta keep it real, and
you
it's
don't have to
That's
it's
right.
justify
because you have
yourself.
depth and nuance to it. It's not just, "Wow, this is stupid." Alright,
Like,
anyway,
oh
like, you know what I mean?
man,
Like, alright.
On to the
these
next
top four seeds made it in
recap.
the top eight.
I think of Gavin
No
all the time in this
shit. Like,
conversation
duh.
because he's like he hates buzzwords or like just
Yeah,
things people
The
repeating
buzzwords.
things like the
yes.
surface level. Like I heard one person say this, so I will also say this thing without really thinking about what that means. You know?
Yeah.
Well,
Gavin hates the slop.
he
I
does. He does.
I
Yeah.
really don't like slop, yeah. Despite contributing to it every week. Uh,
Here's your
I
guys'
don't think the
serving
podcast is
of Tweek
slop, by
Talk
the way.
Slop.
Hell
I'm
no.
sorry. I'm sorry, it's not. Yeah, I really enjoyed, it was, 2 in the morning last night, and I wanted to watch some of the Riptide VODs, um,
Yeah, we saw you go live
and
like super late. We were
I
like,
was
what the
thinking,
hell?
"Oh, it's too late to stream, blah, blah." I'm like, "What's stopping me? What's wrong with streaming, right?" Like, if people are here and they wanna see it, they're gonna see it, you know? Like,
You can make it into
uh
a YouTube VOD later on too. Like, there's a lot of things you can
yeah,
do
it
with just
doesn't
a late night
matter,
stream. Yeah.
I'm just gonna do what I feel, and, it created a lot of interesting conversation just despite only watching 2 of the sets, but it was, a couple hours worth because I'm pausing every 2 seconds and, asking questions, thinking about things, asking people what they think because one of the most fun conversations was when Paris was playing against Wrath, there was a lot of scenarios where he was holding every resource, like he wasn't air dodging or jumping. Like, he does that Fox thing where he, does nothing and then texts the ground at it, you know what I mean? Like, the classic,
Mhm.
just burn nothing, and he actually lost a stock really early for being in disadvantage. Like, this is the ledge, and this was him, and he just drifts and just side Bs, and Wrath just forward smashes. And I started asking the chat, like, do you think him not using any of his resources is a sign of confidence? Or is it like fear? Is it greed? And we started to dive into what it may be and what they think about it. Because at first glance, saving resources, I think, is a sign of control and confidence and like patience. But from Light's perspective, I think he was scared to use it and not have a backup plan if something goes wrong. So when he would not use any resource and then die without getting a chance, I was starting to view it as like he's hoarding his resources and not even getting a chance to use them because the game's over. And it was just a really interesting conversation that turned into something really cool because everyone, had different thoughts and opinions on it. And
Yeah,
like
like
I
what
said,
emotions are tied to
in
the
this
decision.
situation where he was like above ledge height and he had his jump, he could have done something more dynamic and like tried to get a response out of Wrath without losing his stock for it. Because if he jumps, he has a choice whether he goes on stage, grabs ledge, lands in the corner, like, and he was at a reasonable percent where even if something goes pretty wrong, like things could be fine. Like, I understand the perspective of like saving your resources, going for a side B. If you get two framed, you have your jump. But I think it was a lack of awareness and it was a bit fearful because he got two framed and lost for it without getting a chance to do any sort of mix up. And it just became a really interesting conversation because the tech in the ground situation and then later on in the game getting the F smash happening is two situations where he had resources and chose to use none of them. So it's very, very interesting. And it's kind of Fox specific sometimes with like the tech thing because not a lot of characters do that. Like they hang in the air for that long and then tech the ground for the invincibility. Like it's kind of rare for other characters to do that. Um and then later on in the games, like things were changing and he was doing some of the things I thought he could have done in the previous game, and they ended up even being better than I thought. So it's clear that he probably saw some sort of mistake as well. So it's cool seeing that develop. Um, and a lot of Wrath's success stemmed from the game one ledge trapping. All three of his stocks, you could argue, were because he landed a neutral air at ledge. And so that means Light was behaving very quickly at a disadvantage. And then later on in the set, Light got one down air off ledge. And Wrath never neutral aired that ledge again. So it's just interesting how those things develop. But he won that first game off of just pure ledge trapping. So Paris was really on the back foot because he had no information as to what happens if Wrath doesn't get the ledge trap. So you're just so behind. And I do think like that game one did so much for Wrath because Paris had so much information he had to learn that he could have learned from game one, but he just didn't get the chance to. But yeah,
Yeah, the
I don't know.
information war. I
It was
I
a it
also
was a
just
fun
think,
stream.
dude, I mean, it's I hate to be the person to do this, but I know you guys aren't going to do it. But like being the Fox apologist, all right,
Oh,
is
yes,
not an
no, I
easy
want
job
you to provide what your thoughts are here because
because here's how I look at Fox is a character, very light glass cannon, right? But you don't have the recovery, dude. Sonic kills characters earlier than Fox does. Like that forward smash is
Oh,
crazy.
yeah,
That back
yeah.
air is crazy. Like, why are I don't know, man. And like now there was so many stocks where Wrath is getting up smashes on like a nair block string or just like forward smash 2 frames and stuff like that. And usually the idea, whenever I'm thinking about like any character saving a resource, right? Cloud saving a
There it is.
jump or anything like that, it's like you're usually doing that because it's like even if I get hit with said resources, I can live. I saved my
Yep,
resources, so I'm gonna get back on the stage. But when you're fighting a character that kills you at like 60 or 70 with forward smash, it's like, well, now there's more stakes to saving resources. Usually when a top player saves resources, there's minimal or no stakes because no matter even if they get hit, if they save the
yep,
resources, the worst case scenario is burn resource, get hit right after burning resource, get hit right after double jumping, right? And then you're done. Then you're cooked. So you don't want to lose the stock at 50. So
Yeah.
you're willing to take 30 to guarantee get back on the stage, but you take the damage for saving the resources. But when you're fighting a character like Sonic, this character can take your stocks extremely early because of how many hard-hitting moves Sonic has. And I want to say it is very comparable to Fox. Like Fox up smash, obviously very, very strong, but Sonic forward smash at ledge probably even better than something like a Fox up smash.
Yeah, that move
yeah.
clears Fox's up smash every day of the week. It's way
Yes.
better. It's
So
just
it's
a way
like,
better attack. But I think
yeah,
the biggest problem is that I think there was a lack of awareness that his stock was in danger for that PS2 F smash, because
right.
when you're above the ledge and you have all your resources, like, you gotta do something a bit more dynamic, in my opinion, if you're playing against a character that's two-framing you with a smash attack potentially.
Right. There's a lot. Maybe he didn't realize how much stakes were on the line. Like his stock was in danger, like you were saying, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe it was a bit of greed. Maybe it was fear. It is interesting
You
to
could
think
argue
about
either
the
way, and I think
emotions.
it provides a similar outcome regardless of, like, what
Mhm.
he could have done instead. But yeah, I just paused and talked about it for so long, and, uh, I mean, I've lost games to Wrath online in similar fashions, where I'm Diddy Kong, I wanna keep my double jump, I monkey flip to the ledge, and I got F smashed and lost the game. And it's like, "Oh." Like
I didn't
like
know I could die there. Like I
Yes,
didn't know my
exactly,
stock was
like,
at risk here.
I thought I could save things, and that's why, like, I use the word, like, hoarding in this sense, because you don't even get the opportunity to use the resource you're holding on to for so long. So, it's a big eye opener that you're making a really big mistake. And it does stem from a lack of awareness of not knowing that your stock is in danger. But Sonic will kill you early. So
Yeah, and I
I
don't think
hated that
like
dash.
I do think
Dash attack upset me very much.
dash tag in the corner, dude.
Yeah, I talked about that one for a while too.
Like I still think
Classic.
Fox has an advantage over Sonic, but I think as time goes on and Sonic refines the offense, like I do think this is a matchup that could end up
Yeah,
maybe being
dude.
more on the even side. Like it's just so weird because Light has been so good versus the Sonic
Yes,
players. I just think
we
this
were getting
really
used to expecting him to
outdated.
win.
Yes, I think it's outdated info where it's like, oh wow, Fox is one of Sonic's worst matchups. Like, I don't know, man. Like those edge guards looking kind of free, and the fact that you can two frame both illusion and up B to ledge. Because the hard part about contesting Firefox is the journey to the ledge. Because I don't know why they did this in Ultimate. Like Firefox is the best it's ever been in Ultimate specifically, which is why I think Fox has even made it this far in the meta. If Fox didn't have like the broken Firefox, this character, if you could edgeguard Fox like you could in Smash 4, this character would be Omega trash. Like that's the only thing keeping Fox relevant is the fact that it is hard to contest Firefox. There's not a lot of characters that can do it. But when you have a Smash attack that you're not fighting Firefox, you're more so just trying to get the two frame on Firefox grabbing the ledge, then it's a different story. I think Sonic has a lot of options, and you can just trade with back air anyway. So like Sonic can just trade with back air, or I felt like Wrath had a safer approach to it, where it's like I'm gonna go more for like a two frame / ledge trap strategy to get
He
these
got 2
stocks.
key back airs off stage too, where he got right in front of the Firefox startup and didn't even trade. That looked
Oh,
very
and you
rehearsed
just
as well.
yes.
Yeah.
Not to say Wrath wasn't going off stage, but it felt
Yeah.
like more so it was a two frame / ledge trap angle, and then when there was the correct amount of knockback and the correct amount of positioning, Wrath would just go out there and go for the backer and stuff. And like Sonic's is also extremely good at just going way far off
Yeah.
stage and just destroying Fox.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the meta is going in a way I kind of predicted, at least when especially comparing Sonic and Fox, like two characters that are really fast, hit really hard, but I feel like Sonic has way more defensive options. And when you look at Fox's defensive options, it's like, I don't know, runaway laser and like whiff punish you, compared to like, oh, I'm Sonic and I'm charging up this like charge move that if I do hit you, it's not like, because if Fox hits your shield, it is safe, but he has to set up with things like Nair. He has to set up in the air, whereas Sonic is you're setting up on the ground and you're charging. But then when you push forward, most of the time it's safe on block, right? When you're hitting a charge and you're trying to, if you're an opponent, you're trying to do something to clank out the charge. But if it's charged up mid range, then you kind of have to just hold it. And it's also, you don't even, if you can't tell which one it is, because spin dash is a really good anti-air too. So even setting yourself up in the air against Sonic, which is something like a character Wario would like to do, you can't really beat the spin moves coming down with aerials on top of it, right? So you kind of just have to let it go and just run away and disengage and let Sonic either disengage the spin or just go rip the spin, and then you reposition from there, right?
I had a really rough session with Sonics, like when I was picking Wario. Trying to float in that area above Sonic was brutal. It was like
No
worse
way,
than
bro.
getting hit by spin because I was just getting up aired for days, and I just had to like get it beaten out of me that I just can't be there. Like
You just
like
have to disengage, yeah.
you
Let
just
the
like
spin happen. Like, I don't
if
know.
anything, like getting hit by a spin dash is better than like 10 million up airs and back airs. Like,
Oh,
and
right, because you only take 30 instead of like the 50 to 70 off
yeah,
whether
like
there's a
it was
platform
just
extension.
a
Yeah.
brutal scenario a lot of the time, and it really changed things. Just seeing how much he wanted the up airs and how often they were working too. It's like, okay, like I know I'm Wario, but I can't be floating in this range anymore. Like the thing is, even when I was like seeing it, I still wanted to do it, and I was making the mistake. But now that I've had time to think about it, and like it got beaten out of me, I'm very aware, and like I even talked with Gluto a little bit, and it's like, yeah, like up air is like just as scary as spin dash to it, like the priority of avoiding it. So it's like, it's interesting. Like Sonic going for that rising. Like Paris had a moment where he was playing against it really well, where like he rolled behind and he like got a down tilt, like when Wrath was looking for like the vertical like up air out of shield because he's expecting Fox to like kind of replicate that. Um, yeah, and sometimes I feel like I jump out of shield so much as a player that like that it's scary versus Sonic. Like if he gets that up air, like it's game time. Like that's like his bread and butter. So
Mainly falling up air. Rising up air is not the most consistent.
with a
Right.
platform,
Oh, true. Like if you catch
yeah,
someone's full hop or something, yeah, and then you
yeah.
just like like fast fall back
Well,
down
even
to the
like
platform.
rising up air fall on like it's full combo.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's full. You're saying that like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, oh yeah, you just full combo, dude.
I find myself doing that on accident a lot. I say game state now. I say
Uh-huh.
I just said full combo. Like,
Yeah, it's just one card full combo, bro.
I do think that that's cool, and like the crossover between like playing a new game or playing something else, or like obviously you've all done this. Like you download a new game and you start playing it. The first thing you do is like check the movement and check how you know like what you do in a Smash game. Like
dude,
when you
during
first log
Smash
in.
4 days,
Yep.
all of us, it's like we had an illness where we tried to perfect pivot in every video game we played.
True.
It was so stupid.
It's funny because perfect pivoting is in Melee and Brawl.
I'm playing
right?
Kirby, and I'm like, can you perfect pivot in this? like Jesus,
something's wrong. Anyway,
we were just obsessed with perfect pivot, rightfully so. It was cool, but
we just know that movement, getting creative with movement, is fun and
that's how you
rewarding.
get,
And let's be real, it looks cool too. So
yeah,
that's definitely
the
part
slide,
of it.
the clean
you're
slide
always
back.
cooler than your opponent if you're perfect pivot.
Exactly. Cool. So Riptide, a good
Yeah.
tournament with great results. I think we're seeing. I think we're going to continue the conversation about Ultimate, the meta, Sonic, everything else.
Well, Gavin wanted to talk more about Wario. I think we can do a deeper dive on Wario because Gavin talks with Gluto. Actually, I mean, to my knowledge, you've coached Loaf as well, right? And talked with Loaf about Wario's too, or I don't know.
There's something about Wario players where I just
there you go. See, bro wants to talk about Wario.
I want them to help me, and I want to help them. Like I don't like.
Good call. Let's do it. Let's talk Wario. Let's talk a bunch of other
game.
things. Patreon coming up. Final shout outs around the horn. The first one I'm going to say is shout out to Luis and Kurama, best doubles team in the country, in the world, probably. Amazing. Love seeing them both do well. Big fan of the way both of them play the game. So I'm happy to see that. So,
yeah.
Dude, me and Max got to commentate them at, what was it? Supernova. That was very fun.
They're nasty.
I haven't had that much fun commentating doubles in a very, very long time.
They're very good, dude.
It was sick. And it was with Max too. It was so perfect.
Yeah, he's good at casting doubles.
Yes. Bro is aware.
He is. Yeah. Well,
all right. Thanks for hanging out, y'all. See you in the bonus content.